Good morning and welcome to our commencement ceremony. We ask you to join with as I offer a word of invocation. Let us pray. O God, source of all that is and that shall be, may the hallowing of your name echo throughout the universe. May the way of your justice be followed by all people. May your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope on earth and the hope for all people. For the hurts we inflict on one another and that we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. For the grip of all that is evil, free us. Now we boldly ask to free us to use the fruits of the milestones we celebrate today to surround and support those who need your sustaining grace, your feeding hand, and your open door. In your name we ask this, you who created us, you who redeem us, and you who sustain us. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Barbara Farley. I serve as the Vice President of Academic Affairs and Dean of the College. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this commencement ceremony in Augsburg's 143rd year. We are celebrating the accomplishments of 212 students in the Master of Arts in Education, Master of Business Administration, Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, and the Master of Social Work programs. And 260 students in the undergraduate weekend college and evening programs in Minneapolis and Rochester. Today's ceremony focuses on the theme of global peace and celebrates Augsburg's commitment to exploring the opportunities and obstacles in working toward a more peaceful world. As the new home of the Nobel Peace Prize Forum, Augsburg embraces the efforts of individuals and communities that promote reconciliation and justice around the world. Today's commencement speaker, honorary degree recipients, and representative of the class of 2012 will echo this theme in their messages. It is now my pleasure to introduce President Paul C. Pribenow. Dr. Pribenow is passionate about Augsburg's legacy of building strong relationships with the neighborhoods we serve in this region and around the world. He is a founding member of the American Commonwealth Partnership, which was launched earlier this year at the White House. This initiative holds up the ideal of civic education as a public good, not simply a private benefit. Please welcome President Paul Pribenow.
Thank you, Dean Farley. I would like to add my warm welcome to all of you gathered here today on this proud occasion. It's one of the great joys of my role as president to participate in the various moments in the life of the college wherein we honor and celebrate the accomplishments of our students. You are, of course, the reason we have existed for 143 years, and we are proud of all of you and very pleased that so many of your family and friends are with us this morning. The Richard J. Toney Award is given to one member of the graduating class whose actions, commitments, and future aspirations most profoundly represent the commitment to community, hospitality, and innovation that are the hallmarks of Rick Toney, who was the founding director of the Weekend College and Rochester campus programs. It is my great pleasure to present the Richard J. Toney Award, and I ask this year's recipient, Abdi Mohammed, to step forward as I read about his accomplishments. Abdi. Reflecting on his educational experience at Augsburg and focusing specifically on his training in transcultural nursing, Abdi says that he has been given the opportunity to pursue his dreams. He has immersed himself in the local community, dedicating endless hours in the outreach services at Abbott Northwestern Hospital and at the Health Commons at Dar al-Kuba in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood as a volunteer nurse. For Abdi, it is natural to be involved in the community and to give back where there is a need. He also remains strongly connected with his family, most of whom live abroad, and assists them in multiple ways. In his work at the Health Commons, Abdi not only takes the time to meet with individuals regarding their purpose for a visit, he also provides care in many other ways. For example, some who are new to the Health Commons may be unsure of the services provided. Abdi, who is fluent in several languages, will sit and speak with a person until they feel comfortable enough to develop a sense of trust. He takes the time and care until all of their questions are answered and thoughts are expressed. This is the purpose of the work at the Health Commons, to help people feel that they belong to community, that they are listened to, and that their health and well-being are important. Abdi helps to live out that purpose. Abdi also participates in neighborhood outreach and sports activities, as well as panel discussions and dialogues that help enhance community relations and strengthen the role of youth in our neighborhood. Following a recent study abroad experience to Nicaragua to learn about the complexities of healthcare for people in Central America, Abdi said that the eye-opening trip helped him to determine that he would like to return to Ethiopia and Kenya, where he grew up, to work with people in need. Abdi, we thank you for the way you live out Augsburg's mission by demonstrating true care and participation in community, and we wish you all the best as you follow your call to be of service in the world. Please join me in honoring Abdi Muhammad as the 2012 Richard J. Tony Award recipient.
Mr. President, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Joseph Underhill, Associate Professor of Political Science, who will present the candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Superintendent Martin Hanker has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Regents.
Thank you, Dean Farley. Superintendent Hanker, your leadership in a peaceful revolution and your courage in the defense of freedom have made you a trusted and respected member of the global evangelical Lutheran Church community. You have consistently heeded Christ's call to bring peace and justice to all creation. For nearly 25 years, you have served congregations in Krugis, Dresden, and Leipzig. During your ministry, you have demonstrated a commitment to preaching the gospel and to upholding the values of the Christian church in the face of government opposition. Your unwavering dedication to your faith provided inspiration to thousands of Christians who protested in the Eastern European Revolution in the 1980s. In the midst of the chaos that erupted during that revolution, your leadership was key in providing a nonviolent resolution to conflict between protesters and government. Your steadfastness, even when violence was directed toward you personally, helped to bring an end to an unjust dictatorship and paved the way for democratic reform. During a time of volatile transition in the German political system, you worked for justice for protesters who were imprisoned and persecuted. You provided counsel to relatives of political prisoners and collected eyewitness accounts to be used in their defense. Later, you served as a member of an investigative commission to document acts of violence by government agencies against political prisoners. Your work brought truth to light and provided justice to protesters and their families. Today, in your role as superintendent of the Church District of Leipzig, you help establish, nurture, and strengthen communion relationships between the companion churches of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America and the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Saxony. This relationship opens our eyes to the many challenges of the global context and calls us to deepen our commitment to be true disciples of Christ in a community of faith. Mr. President, it is my pleasure to present Superintendent Martin Henker as a candidate for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Superintendent Henker, Pastor Henker, as we celebrate Augsburg's abiding commitment to promoting peace, we honor you for serving as a living example of faith in action, and we recognize you for your work to bring peace and justice to the people of Germany. You inspire us to serve faithfully and to work tirelessly toward peace for all. By the authority granted to me by the Board of Regents of Augsburg College, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and express my gratitude for your wholehearted embrace of the promise of a global liberal arts education. Congratulations.
Board of Regents, President Bribbenow, faculty, graduates, and guests. It's a great honor for me and a pleasure to receive the degree of a Doctor of Humane Letters from Augsburg College today, and thus to have opportunity to speak to you. For some years, I have appreciated the relationship between the Minneapolis Area Synod and the Church District of Leipzig, including agencies and institutions such as Augsburg College. But when President Bribbenow and Bishop Johnson called me a year ago to inform me of the decision of the Board of Regents, I was absolutely surprised. The thought occurred to me, why should I be honored? I was just doing what a pastor does. Well, what does a pastor do? Listen to God's word, pray, preach, speak with the people, work in order that trust is awakened and justice grows, truth is strengthened, and peace conquers the heart. This is what we have experienced. When that happens, it becomes dangerous for lies, for violence and injustice, for hatred. And then it becomes dangerous for any dictatorship. It was a grand, wonderful gift that we in East Germany were allowed to experience what we call the peaceful revolution in October 1989. It was significant for world history that 4 weeks later the Berlin Wall fell, pushed down from the east. We also experienced this when dictatorships collapse and democracy sprouts up. It's not the beginning of heaven on earth. Because that is true, today we still need people who will accept responsibility. In Germany, we are preparing for the Reformation Jubilee in 2017 with the motto, responsibility before God and for the people. This brings us back to the question of what there is to do. Listen to God's word, pray, preach, speak with the people, work in order that trust is awakened and justice grows, truth is strengthened, and peace conquers in the heart. It's magnificent to live and work in peace and democracy. May we all be prepared to invest energy so that they can grow and blossom. For all of this, I hope the relationship between Minneapolis and Leipzig can remain strong. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Philip Adamo, Associate Professor of History, who will present the candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Dr. David Matthews has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Regents.
Dr. Matthews, in your roles as educator, administrator, leader, and author, you have made important contributions to the study of how democracy can work as it should, including the role that colleges and universities need to play in contributing to a stronger, more citizen-centered democracy. With degrees in history and classical Greek from the University of Alabama and Columbia University, you have been a major intellectual and practical architect of the emerging movement for a more deliberative democracy. As the youngest president at your alma mater, you oversaw an era of significant change and innovation, including the integration of athletics at the University of Alabama. Under former President Gerald Ford, you served as the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. While in this position, you worked on restoring public confidence in government, stimulated wide-ranging conversations in the department about ways to work in collaborative partnership with communities, and sought to reform the regulatory system. In the years since you were elected President and Chief Executive Officer of the Kettering Foundation, you have been a powerful advocate for the role of higher education in addressing our nation's most pressing problems. You have challenged higher education institutions to engage with their communities and the larger society, emphasizing that higher education throughout American history has adapted in response to calls for social change. Your writings have helped to spark a global conversation about the central role of citizens in a vibrant democracy. Through the David Matthews Center for Civic Life, you work to develop innovative approaches that prepare students to be active citizens who contribute to the development of a strong society. You encourage us to work together to solve problems, instilling the value of citizenship and the notion that deliberative public work is key to a healthy society. As we celebrate Augsburg's abiding commitment to promoting peace, we honor you for your work to strengthen democracy and to promote the multiple roles that active citizens can and must play in creating a more peaceful world. Mr. President, it is my pleasure to present David Matthews as a candidate for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Dr. Matthews, as we celebrate Augsburg's abiding commitment to global peace and citizenship, we honor you for your visionary leadership and for your devotion to the role of higher education in society as a source of public engagement and common purpose. By the authority granted to me by the Board of Regents of Augsburg College, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and express my gratitude for your wholehearted embrace of the promise of a global liberal arts education. Congratulations. It is now my great privilege to present to you our commencement speaker, Dr. David Matthews.
I want to thank the faculty and the board and the president for this honor that they do me. And I particularly thank the member of the faculty who introduced me with considerable exaggeration. But I cannot find it in my heart to correct him. Commencements are great occasions because they're so important to so many people, everybody here who pack this gymnasium. They're particularly important to the faculty. I taught history for a great many years. I loved to teach. I hated to grade papers. And I'm aware, as everyone who teaches, that it's hard for us to show the results of our work. They're largely intangible. We don't have any number that we can cite of goods produced. We can't show you amounts of money that we've gained. We don't have the values of merchandise sold to mark the end of our year. The results of what the faculty does is sitting here in front of me. It's in your capacity to think critically. It's in your ability to learn how to learn. It's in the constructive difference that you're making in the world. All of these are as invaluable as they are immeasurable. This is certainly a happy occasion, too, for your family and your friends who will rejoice, no doubt, vociferously at your accomplishments. And it's a time that you can say to yourself with pride and perhaps considerable relief, I've finally done it. I've always been besieged with the peculiar notion that the commencement address should be the last lecture of your academic career, something free and added to what you paid for. It's somewhat like the toaster you used to get if you opened a bank account. I don't think they do that anymore. I never got a toaster, but I always wanted one. It seemed like a nice bonus. A good lecture should give the lecturer and the audience something to think about. Maybe something that they haven't thought much about before. This lecture is about Augsburg College, about its future, and about what you and perhaps you alone can do to advance that future. It is not about donations to the Alumni Association, although don't be surprised if the Alumni Office has slipped an envelope in with your degree when you receive it, inviting you to contribute financially. Today, the mission of colleges like Augsburg, University of Minnesota across the way, are being shaped by the pressure to prepare at the lowest cost students who will get good jobs. Now, the reasons for that are obvious. A college degree is essential to most high-paying careers, but the students who earn those degrees often graduate with heavy debts. I don't think I need to say more about that because you probably have some of those debts. I understand that the average debt in Minnesota is nearly $30,000 for a graduate, and those costs have risen in the last 20 or so years over 450%. That compares with the 250% increase in medical costs that we think are runaway cost. As a result of this debt and the rising costs, there is a great deal of emphasis, and an understandable emphasis, on greater cost effectiveness in colleges and universities. Peter Heegard, who's here in the audience, has written an excellent book on that subject, and I refer you to it. In fact, I need to pause here in the spirit of full disclosure. Peter and Ann's son, Kip, married our daughter, Lucy, and they have 3 extraordinary grandchildren. If you doubt how extraordinary they are, you may ask my wife, Mary, who is here in the audience. And I am the fiscal agent for Peter's book. And out in the trunk of my car, I have some copies that we are selling today at a discount, perhaps signed by the author. But after that disclosure, my point here is that cost effectiveness is essential to something that's very important, not only to the students, but to the academic institutions and the faculty, and that is access to higher education. The problem is, and the problem I want to talk about, is this effort at cost effectiveness can imply, and surely this is unintentional, can imply that the purpose or the mission of higher education is simply to educate individuals for their personal success. Well, you may say, what's wrong with that? In a sense, nothing is wrong. We all profit when all individuals prosper and do well. But what worries me is that there may be consequences to adopting such a mission that don't appear at first glance, and that's what I would like for you to think with me about a bit. 2 problems come to my mind, 2 potential problems. One would affect our country. The role of higher education historically has been that of an engine for change in America. I remember talking to some Russian friends when their country changed, and I asked them why they were in such a hurry to make all of the changes at once. Why, I asked, don't you take a little time, build slowly, build support for what you're doing? And my Russian friend said, you don't understand. Our country only changes once every century. We've got to make the most of the moment. But they added, the United States is always changing. The United States is always changing, and it is. And higher education has, up to this point, always been an engine, one of the engines for that change. It began in the Revolution when the colonial colleges became what the British loyalists referred to contemptuously as seminaries of sedition. The Revolution, you recall, was not just about getting independence from England. It was about creating a new chapter in history. And the slogan for that change was in Latin, Novus Ordem Seclorum, a new order for the ages. Now, when you look back at that, maybe our founders were overly ambitious, maybe they were a little arrogant to say that they were writing a new chapter in world history, the history of humankind. But you know, that slogan is still with us. It's on the back of every dollar bill. If you're left with a dollar bill after paying the tuition, look at it and you will see Novus Ordem Seclorum. Now, one of the main engines for creating a new kind of country, a new order of the ages, was the establishment of state universities that would foster not the values of a monarchy, but the values of a democracy, the values that are in the Bill of Rights. In the next century, the 19th century, the great cause was creating a more inclusive society. This was the era in which we created the free public schools. The abolition cause grew into a powerful movement. And working people in America, farmers, mechanics, realized that if elites controlled higher education, there were always going to be second-class citizens. And so the great engine for that change, one of the great engines for a more inclusive society, was the creation of a new round of state universities, the A&M universities, and some of them still bear that name. This tradition is continued into the 20th century with the creation of colleges for African Americans, the creation of tribal colleges. The point is that higher education has always been shaped by and helped shape the great changes in American society. It's never been limited simply to preparing individuals for successful careers. Colleges and universities were supposed to give a civic dimension to the careers of graduates. I think it was a Brown University president, Francis Leland, who made the case that education in the United States should not only be to prepare entrepreneurs, it should be to infuse those entrepreneurs with a sense of social responsibility. That is, a capitalistic society could only exist in a moral order. Otherwise, greed would triumph. Now, for the second problem that may arise unintentionally out of this shift away from the historic mission of the colleges, and it comes from economic pressure that may not only change the mission, but the very character of colleges and universities. Research shows now that most Americans think colleges and universities are just another business. Not just business-like, but another business. More concerned with their bottom lines than they are with the education of the students. Unfounded perception? Undoubtedly. Yet trends have been eroding the larger mission of higher education for some time. As early as the 1970s, Earl Chait, himself dean of one of our leading business schools, observed that review processes, regulations, and litigation now command so much attention from college and university officials, it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget that for most of its history, higher education in the United States was a movement, not a bureaucracy. Now, what does all of that have to do with Augsburg and with you? Take heart, we're getting close to the end of the lecture. The lecturer is running out of steam. Let me tell you a story about a meeting in the White House earlier this year. Now, actually, the meeting was in a corrugated metal building between the old executive office building and the White House. Nothing pretentious, but it was a pretentious meeting. It certainly was an auspicious meeting because the colleges and universities that were trying to continue their historic mission were meeting there because they wanted to continue to be a part of the great causes in America and not a business, not simply a business, and certainly not bureaucracies. Augsburg was at this meeting, and not only there, but in the front row. And in fact, your president was a leader in the movement to combine cost effectiveness with civic engagement. And he was and your college was the inaugural host. It's already been mentioned for the American Commonwealth problem. partnership, which now involves, I think, over 1,000 institutions. Some of the members of that partnership, including yours, are sponsoring public forums this year on the historic mission of colleges and universities. They're using a deliberative guide prepared by the National Issues Forum, and what we're trying to find out is what Americans think the mission is, other than providing at the lowest possible cost a good education. As you know, Americans aren't just concerned about the economic system, they're concerned about the political system. They're concerned about the political system. In fact, they've lost a great deal of confidence in that system. There are many people who, even though they know they can vote, they feel sidelined. They worry that money votes more than they do. And they are worried that the country has lost its moral compass. And so that's giving rise to another great and enduring cause, which is to give the American people, you, a stronger hand in shaping the future. I was pleased to note that Augsburg's involvement was not limited to going to Washington. In fact, it didn't begin with the meeting in Washington. I've noticed just reading through your literature, and I know I'm going to leave out some things that I should have cited, but I hope you appreciate how distinctive and unique this college is in American higher education. You've got deliberative dialogues in the art, you've got the Peace Initiative, you've got this interesting program looking at the civic role of nurses, and you've got public achievement. And my guess is that most of these have been here for a while. In fact, last evening at the dinner for some of us, professor, I didn't get a chance to meet him, Gary Hesser, who I believe is retiring this year, gave me his card, and I noticed, and it had Professor of Citizenship on it. I don't think he dreamed that up just to print the card. I think that's been around a long time, and that says worlds about the long-standing commitment of this college to get beyond itself. But let me tell you this. The problem that Augsburg and every other college is facing in their efforts to continue to be part of the great causes of the country, someone described it as the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Nowadays, the emphasis is understandably on economic issues, on economic pressures, and the larger mission of colleges and universities has slipped down toward the bottom of the agenda. If you look at the topic on the agendas of most trustees, present company accepted, I'm sure, you won't find much about civic missions and engagement. You'll find a lot about financial issues. It's not that civic engagement that you boast of is individual. Most institutions have it in their catalog. I remember a university president telling me, some of us were talking about what role universities were going to continue to play in democracy, and she said, we serve democracy simply by existing. Well, in a certain sense, that's true, and in a certain sense, that's dismissive. So it's not that civic engagement is invisible, it's that the 800-pound gorilla is exerting all of the pressure. Now, this is where you come in. The only colleges that are going to be successful in continuing to be a part of the great causes of this country are going to be the colleges and universities where the alumni and the trustees understand what's at stake and support their institution. And that's where Augsburg needs you, both in support of the college and I'm beginning to wonder, perhaps in leading a national initiative in redefining the role that you will play as alumni. So in conclusion, I wish you every success and personal achievement in your careers. And I also wish you every success in public achievements in the life that you will share with all of us citizens. Congratulations. You may rather have had the toaster, but you have now survived the last lecture.
Dr. Matthews, Dr. Hanker, thank you very, very much for being with us today and gracing us with your presence and your good words. Augsburg's Jazz Instrumental Vocal Ensemble, under the direction of Dr. Robert Stack, Chair of the Department of Music, will now perform Higher Ground by Stevie Wonder.
People, I keep on learning. Soldiers, I keep on warring. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Powers, I keep on lying.
I am pleased to introduce Rebecca Hamlin, who is representing this year's graduates as student commencement speaker. Rebecca received her associate's degree from Minneapolis Community and Technical College, and today is receiving her bachelor's degree in special education, with majors in both learning disabilities and emotional and behavioral disabilities. During her time at Augsburg, Rebecca has been deeply involved with the Center for Democracy and Citizenship, work that has led to presentations with Augsburg faculty at both regional and national conferences. Please welcome Rebecca Hamlin as the representative of the class of 2012.
President Pribenow, Dean Farley, honored guests, distinguished faculty, family, friends, and fellow graduates. Now, if you know a middle schooler, live with a middle schooler, or have been a middle schooler, you know that it's not an understatement to say that they can be, let's just say, less than peaceful. And yet, everything I know about peace, I've learned from middle schoolers. I've spent the past 2 years working with them using a model called public achievement, where the students worked in teams to design and implement projects that would bring positive and sustainable change to their community. In my view, the very definition of peace. At the end of our first year, we held a celebration to honor the students and their hard work. The students were excited and nervous. There were a lot of pretty important adults in attendance: the principal and superintendent of their school, Augsburg professors, even a man who had worked in the civil rights movement. As the celebration ended, there was this really powerful moment as the adults in the room led the students in singing the civil rights song, "We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For." At the end of the second year, we were once again planning our year-end celebration. One of the students raised his hand to voice a concern. "Ms. Hamlin, are we going to have to sing that 'We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For' song again? Because we don't know the words, and it's pretty awkward when all of you old people stand around and sing." Awkward or not, the students needed to hear that song, and we needed to sing it. The song says, "We are the ones we've been waiting for. Nobody else gonna rescue us." Whether you're a middle schooler or an old person like me, the idea of creating peace in the world can seem so overwhelming that we convince ourselves we need to wait for another Martin Luther King or Gandhi to even begin to address the issues we face in our communities. Instead of viewing ourselves as capable of making change, we stand and wait for a leader to tell us exactly what to do. But we can't afford to wait for that enlightened leader. Just like the song says, nobody else gonna rescue us. So what can we do? The middle school students I worked with taught me 3 lessons about peace. Peace must be taught, peace requires action, and peace is transformative. First, peace must be taught. We seem to think you're either Gandhi or you're not, that the only way you can come by the skills necessary to foster peace is to be born with them. But the truth is, our heroes had teachers too. We must teach others that concepts like freedom and democracy are not simply static principles that were created hundreds of years ago by a bunch of old guys with wigs and wooden teeth. Rather, it is imperative that we teach that these are dynamic concepts that must be cared for and maintained, and that this care and maintenance, these duties, require skills. Skills we can and must teach and learn. We cannot stand back and wait for someone to rescue us. We must develop the skills necessary to come together and tackle the issues we face in our communities. But doing so requires that we do not mistake peace for passivity. So second, peace requires we put our skills into action. We must get out there and work with our neighbors to push past simple short-term fixes and develop solutions that are long-lasting. I know from experience that this is hard work. When you work with groups of people, especially groups of middle school students, conflict is inevitable. But conflict does not need to be destructive. Conflict can teach us skills that allow us to listen with an open mind when someone's viewpoint differs from our own. Conflict can transform our view of what peace should look like as we re-examine and redefine our goals and work together toward solutions that are empowering for all involved. Finally, the statement, "peace is transformative," may seem pretty abstract, but in my experience, it is a very concrete truth. The students I worked with illustrated this in a very profound way because they were labeled as having an emotional or behavioral disability. The unfortunate reality was these students were viewed by some as being so disruptive that they needed to be segregated in a self-contained classroom in order to keep the peace in the larger school community. But as they learned the skills necessary to become active, engaged citizens, their identities were transformed. They were no longer the bad kids. Others recognized their skills, wisdom, and talents, and more importantly, they began to think of themselves as powerful people who were capable of making the world a better place. I have no doubt they will be lifelong peacemakers. Though they may not be great singers, at least they'll know the words. And thanks to the opportunities and experiences that have been afforded to us by our time at Augsburg, we now know the words too. Whatever skills, talents, or labels we started with, Augsburg has empowered us to be teachers and students of peace, active in the world, and transformed by our engagement in the community. We don't have to ask who's going to rescue us. We know we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you.
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty at Augsburg College, upon whose recommendation these degrees are granted, and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts in Education, Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, Master of Business Administration, and Master of Social Work. Candidates, you will come forward as directed by the marshals. I will announce the names of the members of the class as they come to the platform. Jody Harpstead, Vice Chair of the Board of Regents, will assist President Pribenow. We request that you please hold your applause so that all the names can be heard. We will begin with the candidates for the Master of Arts in Education. Emily A. Stull. Aquila Tapio. Jennifer Lee Henslin. Kelly D. Holstein. Benjamin Joseph Holly. Matthew Thielander. Colin John Thomas. Now the candidates for Master of Arts in Leadership. Sarah Ann Nelson. Angela Dawn Burton. Lori Marie Keivel. Trudy K. Hockerdell. Erin Elizabeth Parrish. Kelly R. Black. Emily Marie Orand. Tracy Lynn Dahl. Ryan Donald Maddox. Lisa A. Sebastiansky. Susan Lynn Long. Emily Amber Snell. Katie King. Stacy L. Hebden. And Charlotte McCaig. Charlie Pratt. Michelle A. Reddig. Whitney Marshall Armstrong. Lori R. Higgins. James R. Traeger. Andrew Franklin Luce. Now the Master of Arts in Nursing candidates. Toby Ray Sanitra. Amos Schronrock. Lindsay Marie Worden. Dawn Marie Duelman-Zekis. Beth E. Grund. Julie Ann Ludberg. Julie K. Philbrook. Linda K. Carr. Now the candidates for the Master of Business Administration. Lolita Suzanne Driscoll. Michelle Lynn Wolf. Todd A. Kamisiak. Scott Stefan Krismarczyk. Carmen Diane Crockett. Tara Lynn Service. Jenna May Field. Paul DeMorris Peel. Salman Abid. Suzanne Carol Flickinger. Latasha K. Randall. Jenny Elizabeth Bonnet. Shane Michael Weber. Sean Clark Becken. Mohammed El Sawath. Atula Dua. Ryan D. Collison. Leave A. Williamson. Eric Paul Welly. Daniel Richard Tolley. Eric John Weber. Michael John Mead. Lacey Roxanne Olson. Jason Elliott Davis Donnelly. Matthew Ian Rustin. Jamie Henson. Allison Lynn Rentschler. Angela Lynn Lee. Victoria Sue Spyhalski. Nikolai Voskovev. Jessie Lynn Golden Hemphill. Michelle G. Nestler. Matthew Carl Thompson. Jordan Michael Moore. Paul Allen Sims. Jacob Allen Jackson. Eric Van Sanders. David Charles Jorsted. Christine Ann Fenner. Molly Marie Geyer. Tiffany Marie Stark. Carl Raymond Johnson. Thomas A. Ebert. Nicholas Andrew Swanson. Sophia Lee Alberon. Charles Robert Vachereau. Helena Kaleo Belicidia. Yvonne Gibson. Ava Louise Hilgard Cahill. Laura Christine English. Ainsley Marie Alert. Kelly Ann Hoy. Robin Marie McNeil. Brian William Decker. Amit Kumar Ghosh. Richard G. Arians. Melody Sue Peterson, MSW, MBA, dual degree. Jana Klein Nicoliason, MSW, MBA, dual degree. And now for the candidates for Master of Social Work. Susan Marlene Gibbons. Eileen G. Anderson. Karen D. Hensrud. Keith Raymond Klepper. Margarita Andra Nadeau. Kathleen Jean Avery Mayhaw. Nikit Allen Fabula. Ronika Darlene Stibbins. Yvonne Tora McIntosh. Christopher Lee Schwegel. Bennett Hugh Jones. Beth Roseanne Reitzel. Ashley Lynn Hubble. Samara Jean Auger. Susanna Rachel King. Beth C. Chelstrom. Nicole Jean Kempenick. Allison Ann Jordan. Ashley Elizabeth Sporer. Elizabeth Isla McPeak. Danette Marie Ricks. Michelle Marie Austin. Abby Therese Messer. Stacy J. McRae Lancaster. Colleen Murr. Sarah Emily Lee. Sarah Marie Terpstra. Erin Michelle Zeller. Michelle Kimberly Schaft. Laura Jean Kruger, Master of Arts in Theology, dual degree with MSW between Augsburg and Luther Seminary. Mary Conroy Lennock. Heidi McCroskey Heimerl. Lakeisha L. Wells. Catrice Marie O'Neill. Nardos Tesfaladet. Jennifer Susan Magnuson. Alyssa Nicole LaRue Smith. Bethany Teresa Christensen. Joseph Julius Clays. Arthur Thomas Bryant, Jr. Karen L. Quinn. Analia Ok Kyung. Rachel Catherine Ayub. Suzanne April Hiller. Michelle Lee Sanko. Barbara Jambor Dunzee. Jennifer Carol Shepard. Julia Rose Miller. Cassandra Lynn Moorhead. Adria Martine. Jacqueline Rose Partlow. Linda K. Hines. Kristen Marie Antela. Michael Anthony Gruey. Vicki Schrader. Vanessa Marie Monahan Ryle. Hannah Suzanne K. Maras.
Will all of the candidates for master's degrees please stand? By virtue of the authority entrusted in me by the faculty and Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and upon nomination by the faculty, I confer upon you who have completed the requirements the degree of Master of Arts in Education, Leadership, Nursing, Business Administration, or Social Work, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And I challenge all of you to pursue your professional work with a sense of calling and faithfulness and a passion for justice, fairness, and civility. Congratulations.
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty at Augsburg College, upon whose recommendation these degrees are granted, and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. After reading names of the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees, two types of honors may be announced. First, Latin honors. These honors are based on cumulative grade point average. Additionally, in order to graduate summa cum laude, students must successfully complete an in-depth oral examination. Candidates for Latin honors wear cords on their shoulders in the school colors maroon and gray. And second, students who have completed special curricular requirements with a high average in their disciplinary area of study will be noted as having received departmental honors. These are candidates for the degrees from the undergraduate weekend and evening college. Tracy Lornez Riley. Brenda Michelle Martins, magna cum laude. Allison Heffernan McGowan, summa cum laude. Pamela Jane Tashida, summa cum laude. Deborah Suzanne Johnson, cum laude. Rachel Jean Nyberg. Skylar John Novak, magna cum laude. Rebecca Jo Hamlin, summa cum laude. Thomas John Gores. Angelique Sloan. Lee Gregory Samuelson. Jeffrey E. Barber. John Charles Beckstrand, magna cum laude. Carrie Ann Warren. Roshana Renee Gordon. Noel D. Rodriguez. Brittany Lynn Weidel. Cheryl Lorene Bloberger. Laurel F. Sampson, summa cum laude. Christopher Kenneth Reynolds. Miriam Nyambura Magubwa. Christine Marie Sauls, summa cum laude. Julie Ann Erickson, summa cum laude. Anthony J. Odekirk. Deborah Sue Allen. Linda K. Berglund. Deborah Nye Justison, magna cum laude. Kimberly Pearl Simmons, magna cum laude. Catherine Ann Ingberg. Samantha Ann Carlisle. Mary Jo Martinek. Mary Jo Mayman. Tracy Lee Austin, cum laude. Tomas Luna American. Emmanuel J. Jean. Katerina Angelique Lyken. Chastity D. Bailey. Nafisa Iman. Tom Frank Heitzman. Portia Renee Vogt. Anne Catherine Cole. Felisa Nicole Martin. Kemar Ahmed Hassan. Bradley James Ely. Christine Ann Coomer. Tina Marie Olson, cum laude. Daniel Amenya. Emily K. Trinidad, summa cum laude. Mena Tedesque. Tricia Marie Strominger. Fern Renee Cederbag, magna cum laude. Jonathan David Domas. Rebecca Elise Adubaya Konadu. Sunita Canal, summa cum laude. Dawn Marie Sanderman, summa cum laude. Lavon Spear. Kathleen Corbin Brown. Renelle Kimberly Kittleson, cum laude. Neil D. Oxborough. Brittany Leigh Gordon. Megan Elaine Mountain. Abdi Adam Mohammed. Callie Robin McKee. Catherine K. Meyer. Kimberly K. Putzier, summa cum laude. Shane William Leach Patilla. Aaron David Siverson. Jennifer Jean McNally, cum laude. Katie Lockwood Iverson. Jamie Lee Bell, cum laude. Jason T. Plank. Lita J. Carlson. Allison K. Trelgagas, summa cum laude. Michael Adrian Wurzberger, magna cum laude. Jeff Louis De Silva, summa cum laude. Gretchen N. Batzel, magna cum laude. Darcy M. Schultz, summa cum laude. Kimberly Michelle Hansen. Catherine Louise Dudley, summa cum laude. Alana Lewis Steinhardt, magna cum laude. Steven Joseph Gehrman. Mercedes Howard, cum laude. Ryan Todd Sherroll. Matthew Bruce Bennett, cum laude. Amy Marie Collette, magna cum laude. Amy Louise Stair, magna cum laude. Lindsay Ann DeShaw, cum laude. Ashley Jean Colas, magna cum laude. Molly Ray Steese. Mariah Rose Hoyle, cum laude. Daniel J. Strelo, Jr., cum laude. Dennis Comsum. Cesar A. Rivas. Nicole Lee Danielson. Patricia Ann Egan, summa cum laude. Pamela Jean Holzer, magna cum laude. Sandra R. Schwantz, magna cum laude. Candace Charisse Murphy. Tanya Chanel Williams. Subhashini Ambrose, Departmental Honors in Communication Studies. Soleo Liliana Nelson, cum laude. Dietrich Beitnachta. Reed McClure Johnson, cum laude. Vesta Eileen Watkins, cum laude. Jeremy Mark Smith, magna cum laude. Cynthia Marie Ward, cum laude. Barbara Brooks Gray, magna cum laude. Sean David Sumrow. Valerie Ann DeShane. Kevin Robert Bach, summa cum laude. Benjamin Hewitt Schaffhausen, David M. Amiot, Benjamin J. Moss, Nicholas John Bakos, Chad Michael Mikla, Cece Yang Hughes, Chaoyun W. Eng, cum laude, Pania Vu, Chad Michael Leodens, Jason Allen Schmidt, cum laude, Claire Catherine Barone, Jewel Renee Arcorn, Rita Cho, Vanilla Kirker Bing Walape, Latasha, Nicole Cox, Matthew Adam Paffendorf, Daniel J. Scardina, magna cum laude, David Charles Sedgwick, summa cum laude, John E. Cutt,
Will the candidates for the bachelor's degrees please stand? By virtue of the authority entrusted in me by the faculty and Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and upon nomination by the faculty, I confer upon you who have completed the requirements the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And I welcome you to the proud company of Augsburg graduates, men and women throughout the world who live out the deep links between education, faith, and service to the neighbor. Congratulations. You may be seated. And now I'd ask you to join me in welcoming Dan Anderson, member of the Augsburg College Board of Regents, who will greet you as the newest Augie alums. Dan?
New Augie graduates, it is my pleasure to congratulate each of you who received a diploma today on becoming graduates of Augsburg College, and to officially welcome you to membership in the Augsburg College Alumni Association. You now join a strong network of more than 25,000 Augsburg alumni. As a member of the Augsburg College Alumni Association, you are invited to enjoy the many events, benefits, and services offered to Augsburg alumni. Your graduation celebration will continue all summer long with a series of young alumni events leading up to your first recent grad reunion at homecoming this fall. I hope that you will all take advantage of these and many other opportunities available for you to stay connected with your former classmates and Augsburg College. Information was placed on each of your chairs today to provide you with information on upcoming events and ways for you to remain connected with the college. As an alumni volunteer myself, I can tell you firsthand that there are a lot of ways to stay connected to Augsburg even after you graduate. You can volunteer on the Young Alumni Council, participate in the A Club, serve on your reunion committee, mentor a current student, or, as Dr. Matthews alerted you to, or maybe warned you, contribute to the annual fund. Even something as simple as keeping your contact information up to date with the Alumni Office makes it easier for you to stay connected with Augsburg and makes it easier for Augsburg to stay connected with you. It is now 47 years since I became an Augie graduate. During this time, I've been able to stay connected and maintain many important personal relationships that have enriched my life, and I encourage you to do the same. Remember, your commitment to Augsburg does not end when you graduate. Likewise, Augsburg's commitment to you continues long after your graduation. Again, congratulations and welcome to the Augsburg College Alumni Association.
Thank you, Dan. And now, as our commencement exercises come to a close, I offer this charge to our graduates, the Augsburg College class of 2012. May you always be good learners, sharing your education and intellectual curiosity with a world that so needs your insight and understanding, your commitment to lifelong learning, and your willingness to take risks in service to the human estate. May you always be good citizens, individuals who join together with fellow travelers on the road to democracy to create a more just and humane world, and who follow in the footsteps of our thousands of graduates of this college dedicated to making a difference in the world. And above all, may you always be good and faithful people, people who recognize that the many gifts you have been given, gifts of education and friendship and opportunity, demand of you the role of the good steward in the world, taking good care of all that has been entrusted to you and to us. Congratulations, keep in touch and keep the faith. We're all immensely proud of you and will watch with great anticipation as you commence your lives in the world as graduates of Augsburg College. May God keep you.
Congratulations, graduates. I think it would be a terrific opportunity right now for the graduates to stand up and cheer all those who are here to support you and who have brought you to this place in your journey. Please welcome back the Jazz Instrumental Vocal Ensemble to perform Life is a Highway.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1,
road that you travel on when you're one day here and the next day's gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world outside every darkened door where the blues won't haunt you anymore. Where the brave are free and the lovers soar. Come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate to break down the guardian gates. There's not much time left today. Life is a highway. I'm gonna ride it all night long. You're going my way. I'm gonna drive it all night long. Through all these cities and all these towns, it's in my blood and it's all around. Loved you now like I loved you then. This is the road and these are the hands. From Mozambique to those Memphis nights, Copper Pass to Vancouver.
was great. That was just great. Let's thank Bob Stack and the ensemble one more time. Sarah and Rebecca, alums of Augsburg College, are our lead vocalists. Academic departments and programs will host receptions following this ceremony at various locations on campus. Please consult page 17 of your commencement program for the location. Members of the college community will be available to assist you. Please stand as you are able for the benediction. The recessional will follow. We ask, please, that you remain in your seats until the end of the recession. Pastor Dave.
Receive the benediction. Like a rock, God is under our feet. Like a roof, God is over our heads. Like the horizon, God is beyond us. Like water in a pitcher, God is within us and in the pouring out of us. Like a pebble in the sea, we are in God. Let us now go and change our world as God has changed our lives in Christ. Amen.